slow fade on the music.
All right. So we still
You
got
guys like that? Let me know if you like
a little
that.
dance happening.
All right,
Awesome.
It's pretty much gone. We're just dancing.
Fabulous. Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'm Misty Doan, and welcome to Missouri Star Live. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here. So it is the holiday season. I don't know if you have snow where you are, but it keeps coming and making it so beautiful around here in Hamilton. We got a nice little fresh dusting this morning. It looks great. So where is everybody tuning in from? Let's see who we've got. Joanne from Central Florida is watching.
Mary appreciated that slow fade.
Jada from South Dakota. And now my comments are frozen on Facebook.
From Indiana.
Charlene from Indiana, thank you for being here. We have a fun project for you today. A couple weeks ago, Ginny put out a tutorial for a chevron Christmas tree. Yes.
I know I'm not supposed to get squirreled today.
Yes.
But Kansas City.
Someone's watching from Kansas City.
Haul it out to the Kansas City.
Not too far from home. We appreciate that too. All right, so a couple weeks ago, Ginny made a tutorial for a chevron Christmas tree. So cute, and at the very end, she showed an alternative option for a pinwheel tree. And in the comments, we saw lots of questions about making it smaller, so we thought we would do that today for today's live. So we've got this mini pinwheel Christmas tree wall hanging that we're gonna make. It's super quick and easy. So we're just gonna dive right into it.
Delivering to the people.
That's right. We give you what you want here at Missouri Star. That's our goal.
Especially on this live.
That's right. Okay, so for this project, you're going to need 2 packs of 5-inch squares, and we are going to use Ivy League, which is this green, gold, and brown batik mix by Wilmington. It's really beautiful. And then we also used White Out, which is also by Wilmington, and it's just a bunch of tone-on-tone white prints. Really, really fun. And for this particular project, we are going to use Ginny's Easy 8 method. So what I've done here is I've taken one each, one of my print and one of my background, 5-inch squares, and I'm going to lay those right sides together, and I have drawn lines corner to corner in both directions. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew a 1/4-inch seam on either side of these lines that we've drawn. So going both directions on both of the lines. That makes sense. So we're going to take this over here and stitch that up right now. Make sure I'm all good to go. All right.
We had an Osborne. That's just right. That's right down the road.
Yeah, it is. Osborne isn't too far at all. I'm just gonna flip this around. Go back the other way.
Seems like everyone is in agreement. I'm doing that slow fade from here on out.
Oh, I just used a fabric marking pen, but
the question was, what do you use?
Thank you.
Mary just shouted it out.
That's right. Sorry, I forget that you guys can't hear Mary. So yes, there was a question about what I used to mark it. I just used a fabric marker, but really, because we're going to cut right on that line, you can use a regular pen or pencil. You're not going to see that at all. I just wanted something really bold that you guys would be able to see on camera. But you don't have to worry about that showing at all. So just whatever you have handy will work great. So I've got one side done. I'm going to go ahead and sew my 1/4-inch seam on both sides going the opposite direction here. And if you're just joining us, we are making a miniature version of Ginny's chevron Christmas tree, but we're turning it into a pinwheel Christmas tree, which she showed a little sneak peek of at the end. We had lots of requests for a mini version, so we thought we would do it on live.
So there's a bunch of people from Texas. They want to shout out.
Hey, Texas! Thanks for watching. All right, so you can see here we've sewed our 1/4-inch seams on both sides of the lines that we drew going both directions. So now we're just going to cut to begin with. Make sure I've got this lined up because we're going to make actually 4 cuts on this. We're going to go on those lines, and we're going to go horizontal and vertically, right in half. So you don't want to move this around too much, so you want to make sure you have it all lined up where you want it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut on the lines first. There we go. And I'll turn my ruler. Keep my fabric where I want it.
Paul wants a live audience. He says that would be fun.
A live audience would be fun. I would love that.
We've been thinking about trying to do something like that at like
Birthday Bash
Academy.
Or Missouri Star Academy. Yeah, that would be great. Okay, so I've got those diagonal lines cut. So we're going to do our horizontal and then our vertical here.
Yeah, Glenda was saying a spinning mat would be perfect right here.
A spinning mat would be perfect for this. If I was doing all of them, I would bust out the spinning mat, but since I have the rest ready to go and I'm just doing one. And actually with the smaller blocks for this particular project, it's not too hard to do it all at once without the spinning mat. So that's kind of nice. There we go. So we've got all of our cuts made, and now we have 8 individual half square triangle units. Now these will measure about 2 1/4 inches, but you get a little bit of variance. So we're just going to go ahead and square these up. So I have got our slotted trimmers here, and I'm just going to slide it to one side because this looks pretty square. I'm just going to trim off one side here. I'm going to do that to all of these. There we go. So now that since you've used the Easy 8 method, you're actually going to get 2 pinwheel blocks out of each of these.
They're just
tiny. Now, if you haven't used these slotted trimmers before, what I'm doing here is you can see there's a dashed line, and I'm going to put that right on my seam line. And then I'm going to line this up. You can either line it up in the middle and trim both sides, but my sides are pretty straight, so I'm just scooting it to the straightest side, and I'm squaring them to 2 inches. And we're just going to trim that off so that they're all nice and square. And I'm just going to do these ones so we can make our first little pinwheel block. So we're going to press these open. We'll take it over here to the iron. I'm going to press them to the dark side, so we'll put the dark side to the top and lift that up.
I had a question about what ruler you're using.
I am using
I think it's the slotted.
Okay, so the trimmers that I'm using are called Clearly Perfect Slotted Trimmers. And they come in a pack, and there's 2 of these trimmers like this, one for whole inch sizes and one for half-inch sizes. And so those are really fun. Jenny really likes those as well. But the little ruler that I'm using here is our Missouri Star 2.5 by 8 inch ruler, and I love it for small piecing like this. So we're just rolling these back.
Jenny's saying so far she can handle this.
Oh yeah, you can handle this. It's easy peasy. All right, we're going to press all of our half square triangles here. Make sure we don't have any folds. Now, I should have pointed out, let me put this behind so you can see. See these little slots here on the trimmer itself? If you use them, it will get rid of these little dog ears. I did not use them, but they're very handy. So I'm just going to trim these off really quick after the fact. I just have a hard time lining my rotary cutter up in there. It's just like my own weird fear, but they work very well. So we're just going to trim off all these dog ears.
So we had a question if it was possible to do half square triangle by cutting it, and I'm not sure what she meant, but I think if you sew all the way around the outside edge and then cut,
that's just a different method. You get less. So if you sew all the way around the side and cut corner to corner, that's another method that Jenny does, but that will only yield 4 and they'll be bigger, which is totally fine. That's what's so great about this project. You can start with any size square. So if you don't have a pack of 5 inch squares, you can just cut some yardage down whatever size you want. And you could use the sew around and cut diagonal to get a little bit bigger square. So it's really up to you how you want to do it, but we loved these tiny little blocks. I think it's really fun, especially when you're just trying to have a wall hanging size. It works out just perfect. So if you're just joining, we've squared up our blocks. We actually used the Easy 8 method, so this is just half of the half square triangles that we yielded. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to lay this out into a pinwheel. So remember, we're going to go light, dark, all the way around, just like that. And then we're going to sew these together, and then sew our 2 rows together. And that's going to make
Joyce is here.
Our little blocks. Hello, Joyce.
Also, they're wondering if Mary can put the link for the slotted trimmer.
If they click the tutorial link at the bottom, it'll take you to the landing page that has them right there.
Okay,
Click the tutorial link at the bottom, and it's right there.
Yeah, so there's a link in the post that takes you to Jenny's tutorial, and there's a landing page link there in the tutorial that has all of the products that Jenny used, and that includes these slotted trimmers that I just showed you today. So we're going to take this to the sewing machine, and we are going to stitch these up. Need to make sure that I still have them the right direction, or I'll end up with an hourglass. Looks right. All right. So now we're going to keep using our 1/4 inch seam allowance. You want to be really careful when you're working with these tiny little pieces. That really matters. So just be really consistent with your seam allowance. And I'm just making sure I'm nice and lined up here after we took the time to square these just right. There we go.
I do have to say, I actually love Tiny. My mom doesn't, but I think Tiny's really cool.
I like Tiny too. All right, so then we're going to press these. Again, I'm going to press to the dark side. And then we're just going to make sure that these are going to keep going the way that we want. So see, when I sew these together, I'll have my pinwheel. So we're just going to put this just like so. And we'll have a perfect little block. Well, as perfect as can be. We'll take it. All right.
They're wondering about the blue fabric marker, if it washes out.
I'll be honest, I didn't pay that much attention to it.
I think it does. Most of them are.
Yeah, it washes out. So, all right, there we go. So we're going to press this back. Because we took our time, our points came out just perfect. It looks so great in there. We've got this adorable little pinwheel, and this finishes at right about 3 1/4. Make sure I wrote that right. Yeah, really, really cute little pinwheels. So now the trick in this project is all about the layout. So obviously you're going to start with your 1 pinwheel at the top, and as you go down, you can see behind me, then we have 2 pinwheels, 3, and we just go down all the way to 7 pinwheels on the bottom of our tree. And so we've used, I forgot to tell you this at the beginning, we actually used 14 of the green squares and 14 of the whites to get the amount of pinwheels that we need for this particular tree out of our pack.
5-inch squares.
Of 5-inch squares, 14 of each, 14 white and 14 green. And that will give you the number of pinwheels that you need. So I'm going to show you here how we laid it out, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about the sashing size. I've got these ready to go. Just a second.
There was an idea to add some lights. I know we're not there yet, but add some lights and some
little
mini
absolutely.
ornaments.
That would be so cute. Get all this stuff
My
out of the
mom
way.
keeps sending me a link for the Amazon beard ornaments.
Oh yeah, she does.
I'm like, Mom, no.
So our first strip at the top, we just have a blank one here so that we have room for the star, and that first strip is going to be 27 1/2 inches. That's the cut that you're going to want to make, and it is 3 1/2 inches tall. There we go. Thank you. There we go. Couldn't find my notes. And so then our second one, we have our one pinwheel in the center, just like we made, and our side pieces are 12.5 inches each. So you make a 12.5 inch cut and sew your pinwheel in the middle there. And then we're just going to keep going down. So here's our 2.
So they're wondering what that white yardage is.
So this background yardage here, I just used plain white.
And how much did we?
Oh, the total amount. You know, we'll have to come back and write that in the comments. I didn't write the total amount down.
I think it's about half a yard. I put a yard though in the description.
Okay, so we put a yard in the description just to make sure you have enough, because then you can add your outer border. That will be more than enough. We think it's closer to a half yard, but I did not actually calculate. I'm sorry. So we'll get that back to you so we know exactly. So then on our next one, we have 3 pinwheels, and our side sashes are 9.5 inches. Wait, that's right. So 11 and 9.5. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. I didn't tell you the sashing strip. So this first one is 12.5, and each row you go down, your side pieces are going to shrink by 1.5 inches. Hope that makes sense. So this is 12.5, 11, 9.5. Our next side pieces are going to be 8, and we're just going to keep building this. Let's slide this up some more.
So somebody had a question about that first row with the star.
Sure.
So
we're gonna get to that. Yeah. So
okay.
So you have to lay it out first. The star is not pieced; it's appliqued on. So then we're just gonna keep building this down. Make sure I have plenty of room on my table here. There we go. And there's our 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pinwheels. And then we have one more row of pinwheels. And then our little trunk. And then we just used one of there's actually a brown square in this Ivy League pack. And we just used that for our trunk, and we cut it down to 3.5 inches and fit it in just like we did the pinwheels. And so just to go over this one more time, this trunk piece and the top piece, the sashing pieces, are both 12.5 inches. So down here and here, they're both 12.5 inches. And then here we have 3.5 inches, 5 inches, 6.5, 8, 9.5, 11, and 12. Does that make sense? 12.5, sorry, not 12. All right, so then you're just gonna sew your rows together. And when you sew them all together, it will look like this. And then we're gonna go ahead and add this star. So let me pick these up and I'll show you how we did that.
Do we have a measurement for the full wall hanging, the finished?
I can take it down at the end and measure it.
Do we have a measuring tape?
Maybe. We look.
I can find one.
I do.
Oh, okay, good.
I've got one. We can find out. All right, so it measures.
Love those nails.
Thank you.
That was D. That was
36. It should be. Yep, 36 inches square is our finished measurement for this wall hanging. All right. So then let's talk about adding the star. We're just going to sew all these rows together first, and then we will have, here, I'll leave this part out just so we can look at it later. So all we did is we just cut out kind of this rudimentary star shape. You can use whatever star you want. You can hand draw one. And so then that's what we did. We just took it and traced it on a piece of fusible. So let me do that. Just going to trace around our pattern here. You see this okay, or do I need to move up?
Your head is a little in the, okay, we're good.
There we go, we good now? All right, whoops.
Joyce, you exist. We care about you.
There we go. So you can see there, we just traced our star right onto fusible. We're using Heat and Bond Featherlight. And then we're going to take a piece of our gold fabric.
There's some. Turn the heater off.
Turn the heater on. Can you hear it?
That's a little louder.
All right. And then we're going to iron this fusible to the wrong side of the fabric. Make sure you follow the instructions because you don't want to press too long or you'll ruin the glue. So we're just going to lay this on here, make sure it's not going to get on my mat. because you
I'm
don't
not
want
sure
a
if you said this,
sticky
but the
mat.
bumpy side down.
Bumpy side down, that's right. Yeah, on this fusible, there's a paper side, which is what we drew on, and then there's a bumpy side, so you want to put bumpy side against the wrong sides of your fabric. And then we just fuse it. It fuses really quick. And now we're going to cut this out. Just like so.
Oh, somebody said if you pieced a little Missouri star on the top.
Oh, that would be so cute.
Genius.
Absolutely genius. Yeah, you could piece a star in if you want. You can applique on top. You can applique in some ornaments. There are so many options.
Well, and when you're doing the Easy 8, it just comes together so quick because you're getting so
Right.
many little.
So many little pieces.
Pinwheels.
So there we go. There's our star. Easy peasy. And then you're just going to want to peel off your backing. Make sure that you're fusible. My nails are too short. I can't get a hold of it. I can see it, but I can't get a hold of it. There we go. We're just going to peel that off, and you'll see it will leave kind of a shiny side. And then, like I said, once you've sewn all your rows together, you're just going to place that star right where you want it, press it down one more time, and then we just top stitched right around the edge of the star. So you can see that in the quilt behind me here. It turned out so cute. We just used a simple blanket stitch, nothing fancy. Super, super fun. But
What's the size of the pinwheel?
the size of the pinwheel is 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches square. So they turned out super cute, which is why then you cut your sashing to the same height as your star. So go ahead and measure your blocks. If for some reason you decide not to square them up like I did down to 2 inches, they might be a little bit bigger. And so you're going to want to measure your pinwheels when you make them. And then you're just going to cut your sashing to the same height as your pinwheel. So
I do have to tell you guys, after last week and her ugly Christmas sweater, Misty came home last night and was like, oh my gosh, look what I found.
I might have found another ugly Christmas sweater, but I'm
like,
saving
Wait,
it.
you don't need 2 of those. Was it supposed to be a surprise?
I mean, it was kind of, yeah, but that's okay. That's all right. It's still going to be a surprise. It's magical.
Yeah. Just
It's absolutely
wait till
magical.
you see it.
So are there any questions? Anybody have any questions about anything that we covered here? I think it's pretty straightforward. I
Kimberly was saying
guess.
she loves the way you made the pinwheels.
Thank you. It's so fun. And I love that
Oh.
you get 2 pinwheel blocks out of your cuts. Yes.
Somebody was talking about adding like buttons.
Oh, buttons would be
As
so
ornaments,
cute
like red-
as your
red buttons.
ornaments. I can just see it. Now I want to sew them on this little one. That would be so cute.
One-
Okay, yeah, so let's go over the supplies one more time since we said that at the very beginning. So just to remind you guys what we used, I used the Ivy League Wilmington Batiks for my green, and it actually had the gold and the brown in it, had everything I needed. And then I used Wilmington's whiteout for my background to make the squares. And so you need, from these, you need 16 Ivy League squares, 14 green, 1 brown, and 1 gold, and 14 of the background squares. So we started with 5-inch squares. Yes?
Oh, they want to know about the borders.
Okay, I will get to the borders.
Well, you shouldn't call on me until you're done.
Well-
I don't want to get squirrel.
He was so eager. He's like waving behind the camera. I thought it was important. Okay, so that covers the number of squares. So then you use your 14 green and your 14 background to make your pinwheels. Then, like I said, we square those pinwheels up. We use the Easy 8 method, square them up to 2 inches, and then we get our 3.5-inch finished pinwheel blocks. Now, if you saw Jenny's tutorial, her original one was a chevron, so I'm going to go ahead and press these, and I'll show you how easy it is to switch this up if you want to make a chevron mini one as well. But first, the borders, I believe.
It's like 1.5 inches. No, it looks a little bigger.
It's a little
Measure
bigger
it.
than an
Grab
inch and
the
a half.
measurement.
Let me see here. It looks like they cut 2-inch borders.
2-inch white borders.
2-inch
around.
white borders for this that goes all the way around once you've pieced all your rows. And then this outer one is 3.5. So.
For the green.
For the green outer border.
Emma wants to know how many stitches per inches.
What?
Inches. I don't know. That's got to be.
I don't know what you're asking
In
me.
the quilting, they also want to know about the quilting.
Oh, in the quilting, we use this really cute little Christmas tree pattern. It's got Christmas trees and moons and stars. It's so cute. I love it. So
Here, let's
can
do
you,
a
can you see
close-up
it?
of that.
Can you get in here and get a close-up?
We'll do. Go.
We will get you
All
a
right,
close-up.
we're gonna do a close-up, but everybody has to say ooh and ah.
Yeah, ooh and ah when you see this lovely cute close-up. I
All
love
right.
this quilting.
5, 4. Should we count down from 10?
No.
Should this be a slide transition? Here we go. It's beautiful. I love the Christmas trees. It really is pretty cool.
It is so cute. And this was quilted here at Missouri
it
Star
turns
with our
out-
machine quilting services.
From our own quilting.
Ah, our awesome quilting department. They do a great job.
And Misty's on the side.
Lots of oohs and ahs. Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm over here.
Oh, that's great.
All right. So we've shown you how to do this with the pinwheels. And like I said, if you saw Jenny's tutorial, she did chevron. So I want to show you just how easy this is to make that change. It's really just how you lay out these little blocks. So we're just going to trim these up for you real quick. And then I will lay out a chevron.
It's funny because right when we get to the end, we're like, ask some questions.
And then all
we
the
never
questions.
hang out to see them, but there's so many good questions coming in.
Well, that's okay. We'll do this, and then we can answer questions.
They were asking about the
Yeah.
the backing.
Oh, well, hold on.
All right,
We're
after
going to
this.
do a chevron.
Hold
Okay.
your horses,
So these
guys.
are our same little half square triangles from our Easy 8. These are the other 4 that were left from the block, that first block that I made. And so now, if you want to do the chevron, all you do is you put your first 2 together like this, and your second 2, wait a second, I'll get it, there we go, just like that. And so then you will make your blocks just like that, just the same exact way we did our pinwheels, just by stitching those together. And then you'll get kind of points that go down the tree if you want to go for that option. So same method, no matter which one you want to make. Super, super fun. So let's take some questions, make sure we get everything answered.
The backing.
Backing.
Don't forget about us.
So we just used this a simple green back here. Nothing fancy.
And somebody was saying a cool snowflake print would be cool.
Oh, a snowflake print would
but
be
even
adorable.
if you, because I think we have a snowflake quilting,
Quilting pattern.
but maybe not. But if you did
oh,
have
we
one,
do.
it would be amazing.
I've seen it. We have some
Yeah, but I just don't know
awesome
if it's
prints.
available online.
I think pretty much everything is now, but I don't know. It's awesome. But yeah, there's so many options. For our background here, we did just use plain white, but you could use a tone on tone, like with that great snowflake print that Jake was mentioning, or whoever one of our great commenters mentioned. That would be so cute here in the background. But I just think it turned out really great. It was a really fun afternoon project. It's great for people who are in small spaces. If they don't have room for a big Christmas tree, they can hang this on their wall and still feel festive and celebrate.
Yeah, somebody was saying they had a son in the military.
Yeah.
And they sent it.
That would be
It was great.
perfect. Absolutely. So if there's no more questions, thank you guys so much for being here with us. We hope you are enjoying this holiday season, and we will see you next Tuesday at 11 o'clock Central. And Jenny will be joining us, so tune in for sure.
Next week.
Next
See you
week.
guys.
See ya!